Alrighty, so for this week of trading, I did finally decide to start grading my entries in these videos because low-key I've gotten lazy with my journaling and haven't really been doing that lately, which I know is bad and I'm gonna start that up again. But just in case I don't, I'm gonna hold myself more accountable in these videos by exposing my trash setups even more with a little grading system I have. For the grading rubric, I'm gonna just simplify it to how many elements make up the setup I enter on, because usually there's 3 elements that I like to use for my entries. This basically means that if there's all 3 on an entry, that's an A graded setup. If there's only 2 used, that's a B, and if there's only 1 element I base the trade off of, then that's a C. If I do enter a trade with no guidance or pure emotion, that's just an F. Now time to reveal the elements I enter on. Well, the first one shouldn't be a surprise, as it's basically this 1-minute moving average where I like to see price bounce or wick off of it. The next element is the 5-minute moving average with the same idea as before. Now for the final element, it's these key levels I draw on my charts based off the 15-minute and 1-hour levels. With these key levels, I usually like to see price bounce off of them, and if you can't tell, these elements usually do better on trend days where price pulls back after breaking higher or lower. So yeah, that's basically a really simplified version of my setup criteria, but yeah, that's what we're going with. Alrighty, so to start off the week, I had a feeling it would be a little more rangy this week until after Powell's talk and FOMC news on Wednesday, so not really expecting that big of a move today. And at the start of the day, I did see a little range forming if these 20,000s or 900s held, looking for a bounce up to the 100s, and off market open price did hold here at the 20,000s, but I wanted to wait a little bit more before jumping in along, which we did get a little bit later after seeing price wick off the 5-minute moving average and bounce off the 1-minute moving average here. The only thing missing is no real break above this key level yet, so 2 out of 3 requirements makes this more of a B setup. A bit later though, price did get a pop up, but was quickly rejected here to stop me out for a loss. Right after that, price did get another bounce off this 5-minute moving average, forming this wick, so I did re-enter long, seeing as price also held at the 1-minute moving average with this green candle, which again makes this a B setup. And we did kind of stall for a bit before getting another push up to break these highs. Here I should have trailed my stop loss more or just bailed out because news was coming out at 7, but I got distracted. Luckily, price just shot straight up and almost hit my target. When I saw that, I was like, oh shoot, news, and just bailed out in case price just rejected more or something, which it did a bit later, but did have this fat wick to hold price above this key level and 1-minute moving average, so I just re-entered long for a B setup. But this is a little sus because it is after news volatility, and with this fat red candle, I wouldn't be too surprised if this next candle just stopped me out, which yeah, that happened. Right after that though, price did bounce back up, which fit the same points as the last entry, except this time we also did get a wick off the 5-minute moving average to make this my first A grade setup this week. However, price just stalled here hella, so I was getting a little scared, but eventually we did get a little pop up, so I kind of wanted to see if we would crack these highs after all that stalling. So I did move my target up a little bit more and was gonna have my stop loss trail these strong green candles as I tested when going for breaks of key levels, but I was like, that's only like 10-ish points away from break even. Might as well just go break even to give the trade some more room to breathe, right? And yeah, price just got slapped down hard suddenly, which froze my charts, where last time I did this, I lost hella, but this time I only got hit with a small loss. Then we did just chop around for a bit, so I was sitting out until we finally got a decent push up towards the highs here. So I did see a janky C setup here with price holding above the 1-minute moving average, but this was basically just betting that we would break this key level and out of the range, which after a bit of thinking and seeing this low volume and red candle reject price, I was like, nah, we ain't breaking shit, man. So I did just bail out for a small loss. With that though, I was like, since we are at the top of the range, might as well try a short then, which basically made this a C setup, as I was using this key level and low volume as my main guidance that price would just fall here. And it was sketchy with price almost stopping me out, but we did get a push down. I did move my stop loss to break even to protect myself, but yeah, price held at this level stronger than I thought, and I just got stopped out for break even on a little bounce up. With that, I was just gonna stop today because it was a choppy range day, but I was like, nah, one more try with a short. Again, this was a C setup looking for this key level to reject price, as volume was still looking pretty low for a break up. And yeah, this time price did fall a bit faster, so I might have gotten a little more greedy with my target. However, price did find some support off the 5-minute moving average, which bounced up and stopped me out for a smaller profit. With that, I did just stop here for the day to take home a small dub of about $58. Alright, so for today, I did see that overnight we had a decent sell-off, but we were still in this range if the 800s held. So realistically looking for price to either break the 800s and drop, or catch a bounce up to the 900s today. And off market open, price did bounce up off the 800s. So I may have chased in along here after seeing this red candle get bought up. And since I did chase into this trade, I'm gonna just label this as an F for an entry because it's trash. Luckily, the market did give me a few minutes to think about this a little more, as price did just stall up here for a bit. And after seeing how low volume was, I was like, yeah, I regret entering here, so I just bailed out for a small loss. Which after that, we did get a rejection down, so good thing I bailed. With this rejection though, I was thinking about taking a short off the retest of the 1-minute moving average, but as you can see, I didn't take it because I did want to see the 800s break and retest first, which we did get, but something about the volume and no real tap of the 1-minute moving average was throwing me off, so I didn't take a short here. Instead, I jumped in along after seeing this move get bought up, and yeah, price just popped up. I was still a little sus of a break lower, so I trailed price with my stop loss, which ended up getting tapped after this green candle got squashed down. With that, it was looking like a potential short to continue this move lower, but with that fat green candle, I wanted to wait a bit more as buyers seemed really strong here. And yeah, we just kept going up where I could have re-entered long around here if I wasn't so scared of seeing price break lower. Eventually though, we got to these early highs where I did jump in another long, betting we would get that move up to the 900s now. On this entry, we did have both the retest of the 1 minute and 5 minute moving averages, so technically a B setup. I also did wait for this fat green candle, which helped improve the chances of breaking this key level. And due to the increased risk from waiting, I did size down to only 2 contracts, but I didn't really have to worry as prices shot straight up to hit my target for a decent profit. After that, we were kind of chopping at these 900s, and I did see price get a little pop up, but that was rejected, so I was like, fuck it, let's try a short betting this key level rejects price down a little more. So basically just a C setup, as I'm only relying on this key level and the low volume to support my entry. However, price ended up just stalling higher and higher here to eventually just tap me out for a loss. Shortly after that though, price did seem like it was struggling to go higher still, so yeah, I tried another short. This time I'll admit that it's more of like a revenge trade here, so an F setup overall. However, price did just drop, so it was looking pretty good. Initially I was gonna trail, but decided just to leave my stop loss at break even, which yeah, just got tapped after price failed to break lower. With that, I was just gonna stop for the day because price was just choppy up here, but I don't know, something came over me. Like, I started to think how I wasn't gonna be able to trade Thursday, Friday, or Monday because I'm flying home for Mother's Day weekend. So by missing out on those days, I convinced myself that I won't have enough time to pass the eval before the rebuild day if I keep having these small green days. So yeah, I started to tweak the fuck out, man, and proceeded to throw away my whole account basically by trading some more. Like, I knew it was choppy, but I just kept taking trade after trade, trying to get my PL up some more. And the more I lost, the more I wanted to keep going to make it back. And yeah, even started to size up on some trades. But since we are in this chop, every trade taken is just a straight F graded setup with no clear indicators, and it was just pure gambling. So yeah, I did try to show some of the trades, but you can probably just guess that it was a shit show in this chop because goddamn, look at how many trades that is. Realistically, I should have stopped after the third trade being up like 280 bucks and noticing price starting to chop around, but nope. Instead, it's just another day of me crashing out and losing 1200 because I just got in my own head and couldn't stop myself. So for today, I kind of only had like 100 bucks left until hitting my max drawdown, so I might have just blown the account yesterday evening trying to play a range and build up a buffer for the morning, but yeah, I failed. I low-key didn't record the trades either, so you can just see here that I blew it, and here that, yeah, I overtraded that PM session, which led to the L. So yeah, a pretty short week, which is what I was expecting, just not like this. With that crash out on Tuesday, it basically meant that this account was going to get blown anyways. And if we do look at the past 3 weeks on this account, we can see that there are some green days. But yeah, there's 3 days with a max loss of 1200. So yeah, that's not a good sign. And this just further proves that I lose control easily and really need to set and stick with a smaller max loss of like 500 to 600 bucks like I did before. Also this week, I did try adding some more analysis before my entries as well as a janky grading system to hopefully give you all a better idea of how I see my own trades. Sure, there are a bunch of low graded entries like C's and F's that I took this week, mainly because I was expecting more of a range day due to news, but I would say ideally I want to try to go from only A or B setups. So let me know if y'all like the grading rubric this week, or maybe let me know if there's some improvements I can make to that. But yeah, with this blown account, I'm honestly getting tired of these constant crash outs because yeah, it's just draining, and honestly those days I'm usually in a horrible mood for the rest of the day. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to a smaller max loss, which will hopefully stop me from fully crashing out. And I feel like I always come back to the same conclusion of needing to set a max loss limit, but somehow I always end up ditching it and just repeating these same mistakes. So until I can control myself properly, I will always have a max loss set for myself. If I ever forget this or break this rule, someone just punch me.